Right before she died of a drug overdose, I had no idea she was taking drugs.
It gets you addicted. I mean, I started out like any drug, just doing it once a week. Then it became twice a week. Then it became almost every night, smoking a little bit. Then it became waking up with it, doing it all day long.
I didn't get to see my daughter, but her dad did.
He was a heroin addict. He, had struggled with heroin for a long time, but he had been clean for a year.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, God, why? Why did you drive?
I looked to the left and I saw like this white truck, and I couldn't say nothing. I said, I go, oh Jesus, like that, and it hit us.
You will be convicted of a felony if you're caught selling this stuff.
And what you don't really realize is that you're putting your life in danger and everybody else around you in danger, and it's just not worth it.
It was 8 minutes from the time the officer left, and that my daughter was killed.
Broke my back at T12, severed my spinal cord, had a punctured lung, a torn diaphragm, and several broken ribs, and that's what left me paralyzed at the waist, and he got a speeding ticket. That's it.
All right. Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us after the premiere of episode 309. It's such a powerful story. Hello, Jen. Thank you for joining us. Viola's here. Kimberly's here. Brenda's here. That's awesome. And Brina is here. Thank you for being here. Look at all these. I'm behind already. Gosh. He maintains his YouTube channel. Message him. That is definitely a thing. I really want to encourage everyone who liked this story. I don't know. I don't know if like is the right word, but there's some powerfully inspiring elements to this story, and there's a lot of stories out there like this, and you can find some of these stories on John's Facebook or YouTube channel and Facebook page, and he's got all that stuff going on. And if you go to the video, the description that's with the video that just premiered, if you go to the description, there is links to get you to the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, all of that. And it would be wonderful for John to see a spike in his subscriptions because of this premiere. I think that would be wonderful. But not for any reason other than it says we were there. We heard your story and we were moved by it. So John's saying, see, oftentimes when we do a live event, I wind up getting text messages from a storyteller while we're doing the live, And I'm pretty sure John is here. I see Brother Phoenix. Hey, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm assuming Brother Phoenix is John. Is that is that right, Brother Phoenix? Is that you, John? And Jen says Brother Phoenix is John. Well, see, there you go. So so glad you're with us, John. I guess I don't need to respond to your last message. I think you've figured everything out now, and so very glad that you're here. So one of the things that we always ask the storyteller when we start off is if the storyteller is here in the room, in the live, we always ask them what was the experience like sharing your story, doing the interview. We have we've put really we've put a lot of thought into how to make the experience for the storyteller. Well, you tell me, John, Brother Phoenix, whatever I should call you. What was it like? What was the experience of sharing your story with us, doing the interview? What was that like for you? Glenn, relationship and addiction doesn't go hand in hand. But it can. It doesn't have to, for sure. But it can. So, John, what was it like? What was it like? We sat there. I remember your story. I really is one of those stories that really that really impacted me. We recorded your story in Ridgeland, Mississippi, and had a great, really great arrangement. We had a great local event coordinator and great support from the hotel, and it was great. They made things very easy. They really were with us, and the wonderful thing about that is that it makes it so easy to just focus on the stories, and that's where our priority is. John says he was very emotional. I talk about Amanda a lot, but rarely discuss the circumstances of her death. Yeah. I appreciated the way that you shared that. I don't know how to say it other than that you shared like a dude, and that's a thing that a lot of members of our audience are men, and a lot of men don't find a lot of connection with stories that are told by women. There's nothing, not not to criticize stories told by women. That's not my point at all. But there is an extra element of value for men when there is a man sharing a story, being a bit vulnerable, being open, and paying it forward. That's such a powerful thing. Kimberly says, thank you for your story. Hardest thing. I don't know. Hi, Jen from Australia. Just came across. Jenny Hills just came across this. That's cool. And you're in Australia. I've been there. I've been to Adelaide, Australia. Adelaide. I'm from Texas. And across the street from my hotel was a bar that had a Texas Hold'em tournament going on when I was there in Australia. Texas Hold'em. It's funny to me. Anyway, what am I missing? Rika Baby 80. Hello, my name is Frederica, and I am from Georgia. Thank you for being here, Frederica. I appreciate you joining us. What else have I missed? What am I missing? I see Gin Juice, Brother Phoenix is John. Da 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 da. Yep. It's very emotional. Viola says, that's okay, John. Just know that your dear sister is with you. She is so with you, young man. No details needed. John says, I know I had cried for the first time in a long while after I left the hotel. And I cried the first time I saw it. And I cried again tonight. Good job, John. I mean, wimp. No, good job. That I don't typically cry during the interviews, but when I'm doing the editing, when I'm spending all of that time really getting into the story at a time where there is no schedule to stick with, there is no distractions like monitoring the audio levels and monitoring how the camera's operating and all of those things. When I'm not doing that and I just get into the story, your story is one of those stories that really captivated me. I don't remember if I cried while editing your story, but probably. As, and when I say it is probably, that means it's likely, because it's here. It's sitting right here where I'm at right now doing the editing. I edit at the same location. You see that here's the top of the laptop, and there's a couple of other monitors involved and all that cool stuff. But this is where it all happens. And so I remember vividly working through your story and being very captivated by it. And I remember praying that I hope it reaches a lot of people, because it's one of those stories that it's not giving up. And not giving up is such a important thing. Every day is a gift, regardless of where you are. Every day is a gift. So your story impacted me a lot, but this is not about me. It felt good to get that out. It was cleansing. I didn't realize I was still grieving her death. I don't think the grief ever really goes away. There is, there's I'm sure you've heard of the 5 stages of grief. And several people that are in this I don't know what fentanyl world, people who have lost someone or people who are in recovery from addiction to fentanyl. In that world, there are people who talk about the 5 stages of grief, and they tell me there is another stage. There is a 6th stage. And that 6th stage is purpose. Purpose is a big deal. Purpose is an opportunity for healing. Purpose is your Black Sheep Recovery podcast. That's purpose. That is on the good path for the good reason. And that's an awesome thing. All right, let me catch up a little bit. Viola says nitazines. Okay, I know I missed stuff about nitazines. Nitazines are scary, yes. Rika Baby says, yes, it's the new synthetic opioid that was introduced in the 1950s and 1960s that was shot down by the FDA. Kimberly says, John, your story really, truly helped me. Rika Baby says, hi, Kim. And Brother Phoenix John says, it was beautifully put together. You honored my sister's memory perfectly. I pray her story saves lives. You know, John, I think probably the more accurate prayer would be to say, I hope her story saves more lives. Look at what you've done since your sister passed. Look at all the people you've reached. Look at all of the opportunities you've created to deliver the message that comes from her loss and her struggle. Surely she has already saved lives. So, good job. But I pray her story continues to save lives. You get what I'm saying? Surely you do. Viola says, if we just lean on him, he will not let us go. Isn't that just the best feeling? And Viola also says, oh, her story will save lives. Trust and believe. And Viola's comment, if we just lean on him, that's a wonderfully easy and completely effective solution. And Kimberly says, John, you've saved my life. There's life-saving stuff that happens every day. Little things that become gigantic fuel for a person as they move forward through their life. John says that our older sister April will be 6 months clean in a couple of weeks. All right, April. That's awesome. Is April here too? If she's here, that's great. As John, I guess you're kind of new to these live events with us with Texas Pictures, and I can tell you that quite a few members of our audience are people that are in recovery. There's some people who are in recovery long term, some people that are new to being in recovery, some people who are just wishing they were in recovery, and people who are bereaved family members who lost a loved one to fentanyl, people who are just here to learn. There's all kinds of people here, but there is an element of these live events that make them a little bit like the way that an AA meeting works. So I'm told. I have been to AA meetings and I have been to Al-Anon meetings. When I was in college, I went to Al-Anon meetings with a girlfriend whose father was an alcoholic, and that was long, long time ago. 1982 or so. Tina says, congratulations, April. Okay, clearly I missed something. Tina says, yes, continue to save lives is an excellent way to put it. Black sheep recovery warfare is growing every day. Yes. Black sheep recovery warfare. Please, folks, really find the channel, subscribe to it. I think it's worth it. Gigantic fuel. Well put, Glenn. April will be just fine. Viola says, Midwest Mama says hello. Hello, Midwest Mama. Glad to see you here again. Appreciate you joining us. Were you able to watch the premiere, or are you joining us after the premiere? Trying to say that without sounding judgy or something, because so glad you're here, whether you saw the premiere or not. I'm sure you'll see it later on. It's a longer story. It's over 40 minutes long, and most of our stories are not that long. Some of them are. But my point to that is if you go watch it now, when you come back here, we might be done. We might have already gone off the air. Seems like a weird way to put it, but yeah. So John says, I want to give all the glory to God for all of these opportunities and for pulling me out of the darkness for this purpose. Maybe the darkness, maybe the darkness was part of your preparation. Experiences you gain in the course of working your way through the darkness gives you an insight that creates an opportunity for you to help other people with a perspective that's informed. Okay. I find it a little scary that I feel a sneeze coming on. I can hope that it's going to go away, but it's seeming kind of profound. Anyway, Midwest. This story is about fentanyl. The storyteller John lost his sister to fentanyl. However, John is also a story of recovery. So as the story evolves, John is going to be this story, Amanda's story, is going to be in both playlists on our channel. It'll be in the fentanyl playlist and it'll also be in the recovery playlist. That just seems to make sense to me. John says the darkness was absolutely my training ground for this particular mission field. Yeah. And John says, or Rika says, Rika baby, bless you in advance. It's the sneeze, right? I think it might have crawled back, but it could just creep up on me at any time, and I wind up laminating the microphone here. I don't know. So John says God took what the enemy meant for evil and used it for his glory. Maybe. Maybe God guided you to find a way for you to do that. Kind of the same thing, but not. It's not about where the glory goes, but acknowledging your power is important too, because you're contributing, you're helping people, you're saving lives. Midwest Mama says, I'm sorry, John, and congratulations to you. Really, folks, the channel, John's channel, please subscribe. There's things to learn there. Good things to learn, especially if you're in recovery or you have a loved one who's in recovery. It will help you better understand all of that. And understanding is really the key. Viola says that's the second person that I've heard say that an arrest literally saved them. And that's powerful. We hear that too. We have heard that from several storytellers who have sorry, there's a cool little message here. I don't know if you guys see it or not, but we have heard that message from several storytellers about how being arrested, winding up incarcerated, spending a few weeks or months or year longer incarcerated was that wake up call, was that opportunity to get clean. That kick in the butt that makes you rethink your perspective in a way that guides you out of the darkness. We have heard that several times. Kimberly says, I'm planning on subscribing. Enrica Baby says, me too. Midwest Mama says, God is powerful and does miracles. And Kimberly says, it's all about obedience. John, God is my big lifesaver. There's a lot of peace and harmony in that. And that's awesome. So were there other things? We have the storyteller here. We have John here in the room, in the house. We have John here, and he can answer some questions if anyone has any questions for the storyteller about his sister or about his YouTube channel or about his journey and how he growed. Oh, look at that. Grammy Gray, member for 11 months, almost a year. Not that I think you guys don't know how many months are in a year. I'm just saying that's what it says here. And so it's Grammy Gray sent 5 Texas Pictures documentaries gift memberships. Grammy Gray, who are you? I feel like that's a new name. Grammy Gray. Should I know that name or should I know you by another name? Because another name kind of comes to mind. And so the people who got the gift membership is Carrie Summer, Gigster Pom Pom, Andrea Strom, Brianna, yay, and Blam 4984. Blam. Okay. Grammy Gray. My old name on here was Elaine Gray. I've been on here often talking about my stepson. Okay. That sounds way more familiar. Thank you. As I was worried, I just So we haven't seen some of the other regulars. We've got Brenda here. We haven't seen Carla, and we haven't seen Brad. I hope wherever they are, they're having a good time. I hope they're smiling, laughing, maybe making jokes about me. That'd be fun. Nancy, hello from New York. Nancy, thank you for joining us. Glad you're here from New York or from wherever. That's awesome that you're here. And I hope that Nezzy is here. How cool. And I see my mom is here. Thank you for being here and for your contribution to all of this. Kimberly says, John, God is using you to save lives. That's for sure. And Nezzy says, purpose is the sixth step. It is that sixth stage of grief. It is. It is. Nezzy is one of our, those of you who and for those of you who don't know, Nezzy is one of our storytellers. She has this great story about winning. I think is the best. It's the best way to describe it. It's a wonderful, powerful story, very candid and open about her odyssey, and Nezzy, she's wonderfully spunky. So I feel like if you haven't seen her story, you guys should definitely check it out. So Brianna has hopped on the Brad Carla train and is asking about the where is it? The coffee mug with the Texas Pictures logo. And look, here's one right here. And you can get this on our what do you call it? A merchandise store. That's where I got this one. It's outrageously expensive. It's like $15-16 or something. But it's self-cleaning. Because as long as you stick with black coffee, you never need to wash it. Ever. It's awesome. Right? No stains, no nothing. It's great. So it's got the company logo on it. It's got the Texas Pictures logo. And then on the other side, it says stories that matter. And I think that's pretty cool. That's just me though, but yes, Brad, yes, it is self-cleaning. We were just talking about that. So glad you're here, Brad. Kimberly says, Gray, encourage your son to stop and get clean. I'm sorry, I must have missed stuff. Midwest Mama agreed. My stepson uses daily and has been for several years. Woodstock, New York. Yes, home of the true hippies. Awesome. Yasker's Farm and all of that is one of my favorite songs, the Crosby, Stills and Nash Woodstock song. I guess it's called Woodstock. I came upon a child of God. We were walking along the road. So that song was actually written by Joni Mitchell. Pretty sure. But it is before my time. When Woodstock happened in 1969, I believe, I was 7 years old. So anyway, let me catch up here. Let me see where I'm at. Brad was asking, is it self cleaning? Yes, it is. Brenda says Midwest. I just typed the first part of their username, then type the message I want to convey to them. I'm sure there are better ways to accomplish the same goal. What? Midwest Mama. Okay, here's to order the cup. Let me just get stuff going here, and if you order the cup, you can go to our website, which is right there, texas-pictures.com, and on our homepage there'll be a link to our merchandise store, and on the merchandise store you can find the cup, and you can also find t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and all kind of cool things like that at Texas. Look at there, right there, texas-pictures.com. And there's also other links. Cool stuff about what it's like to share a story, or what to expect, how storytelling summits work, and things like that. Anyway, it's all right there on our website, and you can go there anytime and get yourself a really cool mug like this. As far as I know, there's only two of them. I have one, and a dear friend has one. So, Rika Baby says, I love it because their story does matter. Stories matter. I can't tell you how much I believe that everybody grows when someone shares a story. I grow when it's an interview. It doesn't have to be with us to share a story, but when someone shares a story with me, I grow. I learn from it, whether it's an interview or just a conversation while we're waiting in line at the post office. It doesn't matter. Everybody grows when someone shares a story. The listener, the audience grows, but so does the storyteller. The storyteller gets to learn from how the audience responds, how they react, and they grow from that. So it's a profoundly big deal. Everybody grows when someone shares a story. So I see a great question here from Rika. We'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to see. Uh, 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 John says, I pray for everyone here that a loved one in addiction. Do not stop praying for them. There is power in prayer. There is. Midwest Mama asks, Glenn, how can someone use it daily? Others can touch such a small amount and be gone. So part of it is that there is no quality control to the manufacturing process. The illicit manufacturing process is not precise. Two pills that look identical can have widely different doses within the pill. One pill could be something that barely has any effect at all, and the other pill that look identical can be lethal. It could be so lethal that you could break it in half, give it to two people, and both of them would die. There's no quality control. They're made with pill presses in basements and in fields, and the mixture is mixed up in 55-gallon drums that you stir with a boat oar. There's no quality control. So there's that. Grammy says, my stepson lives with his mother. She's the biggest enabler. Well, it's a tough spot to be in. Being an enabler can also feel a whole lot like being supportive, being encouraging, or reducing harm. It can be all of those things. And so, all right, so let me see what else I missed here. John says Midwest Mama has a lot to do with tolerance. That's true too. That is totally true. Tolerance is definitely a thing. One of the highest frequencies for overdose is immediately after someone is released from incarceration. That the odds of overdosing after being released from incarceration go up by 125%. That's a number that was given to me by a DEA agent that we spoke with about this. We've actually created some content for use in prisons that warns about that. Because what happens when someone is incarcerated, drugs aren't always available in prison, and they have to go through this forced detox. And once they've gone through the forced detox, if when they get out, there is this tendency to want to celebrate, and they'll go back to the dosage that they used before they went in. And that dosage is too much now because they have detoxed. Their resistance is gone or severely reduced. So the odds go up a lot for the risk of overdosing after being released. Midwest Mama says, Grammy, the enabling situation is so sad. Yeah, it is. It is. I totally agree. It's not meant for humans. Kimberly says it's not meant for humans, but I watched a series on homeless on fentanyl mixed with rhino tranquilizer, mixed with which is nitazines. Is that trank? John says also some batches higher dosage than the last batch. John, what we're told is that the dosage can vary wildly from dose to dose within the same batch. Midwest Mama says, what is the drug that makes the skin just deteriorate? It's so sad. Is that trank? Can somebody help me with that? Welcome, Risk. Kimberly says, were you sleeping? Were you? Is that what happened? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Appreciate you joining us. Very grateful. How can we become a candidate to share our story, Rika baby? Rika, there's nothing to it. There's no candidates. We have never turned anyone away. The biggest challenge that we face with these stories is geography. It's just geography. You know, we travel a lot, but we hear from people from all over the country and from other countries. We got an inquiry from someone in Canada just a few days ago, and we have had inquiries from the UK, from I think in London, in England somewhere, and so we see that there is no candidate. Nobody gets turned away. We just it's geography. So if you go to our homepage, the link is right there at texas-pictures.com. If you go to our homepage, it's not a link, it's a web address. You can't click on it and get there. It's just video. So, but if you go to texas-pictures.com, you can find out the process for sharing a story, what's involved. Typically, all of our stories begin with someone local asking us to come and then organizing some sort of an event where we can shoot 6 or 8 stories per day for at least 2 days in whatever location. And when I say whatever location, holy cow, I do mean whatever location. We have actually an updated map now, folks. So that's pretty exciting. But here is the places where we have had storytelling summits so far. And when I say so far, that means within the last 2.5 years or so. These are the places where we have gone. And all of these places represent more than one story. All of these places represent multiple storytellers. And all of these locations began with someone local to that area contacting us about wanting us to come there. So it's really just that simple. And so that's all there is to it. We need someone local who knows the area to help find a location where we can record the interviews. And when I say help us find, what I mean by that is for someone local to do absolutely all of it. Find us a location for us to record stories, for us to record the interviews. It needs to be a location that's a room that's large enough to accommodate a full-size SUV. No, we're not putting a car in the room, but that's a good general reference point. If you can't picture a Chevrolet Suburban parked in the room, it's probably not big enough for us to record the interviews. And then there also needs to be a separate room nearby where people can wait and people can fill out the forms that they need to fill out and all of that. And that's really it. We don't charge anything. We don't pay anything. And it's always nice to have a sponsor that helps with our travel expenses, but that rarely happens and certainly isn't required. And so, holy cow, I'm way behind. I missed a lot. Wow, I'm seeing stuff about cocaine and gosh, roof and Brad's asking about hoodies with zippers. Did I go back? Oh, here we go. Okay. Wow, I am so behind. Sorry. I just got off on a tangent and started rambling on and okay. But so here we are now. And so let me see what I got here. Midwest Mama says hello to Riz. Southern Cross is a great song. Got out of town on a boat in a southern island. In the Southern Cross. Yeah. So yeah, it is, Brad. I like some of the others better, but I like Woodstock a lot. It's a cool one. White Rabbit. Oh yeah, yeah, Brad. Okay. So Southern Cross, Risk. Hello, hello. Anyone seen Carla? We haven't seen Carla. I don't know if Carla's here. Brenda says Kimberly in the Northeast United States, almost all powder fentanyl has trank in it. It is also showing up in Arizona now. Dangerous time to still be in active addiction. Brad says any hoodies with zippers yet? Well, told you how you could get one, Brad. Just come on down. There's no traffic or anything here. Just come on down and we'll hook you up. Piece of cake. Kimberly says, Brenda, I am so proud that you have stopped and are doing great. Brenda says, Midwest xylazine and trank both cause wounds to the skin that are harder than hell to get healed. Terry 3965. Thank you for being here, Terry. Glad you're here. I got fentanyl 2 weeks ago. I had to have CPR. I had broken 5 ribs and sternum. Is that from chest compressions from the whole getting the sternum breaking? That's a pretty common thing. Brad's saying White Rabbit now. Okay, let me see if I can scroll up. I'm way behind. Yes, that was the one I heard of xylazine. The chocolate chip cookie effect. Yeah, that's a thing. Do you guys know about the chocolate chip cookie effect? I don't remember ever discussing that in a live event, but the chocolate chip cookie effect is, you know how you can have 2 cookies and one cookie has a whole lot of chocolate chips and the other one has very few. Same thing happens with fentanyl and pills. When illicitly manufactured fentanyl is pressed into pills, some pills may have a lot of fentanyl, a lot of chocolate chips, and others may have very few. So, Let me see where we're at. Terry, so glad you're okay. But did all of this happen from a fentanyl patch or illicit fentanyl? Terry, did you get in an accident? Rika, baby. That is so true because young lady who gave my son the pill containing nitazine both took the so-called same pill as well, but they're still alive. There is such a thin line between enabling and caring. Yeah, I think enabling is an indicator of caring. Really, not to argue with my mother, but enabling is an indicator of caring that you want so dearly for your loved one to move on to whatever that you will help them, and helping them can ease into enabling. But why it happens is because the person cares. It's easy not to enable someone you don't care about. Rika, baby, that is so true because the young lady who gave my son the pill containing nitazene. Oh, I read that one already. Sorry. I'm paying attention. I really am. Rika, baby, this is laced coke. Brother Phoenix, John, which is John, our storyteller, says Amanda had a very high tolerance. I did not. And Brenda says, Terry, you are so lucky. Laced coke is quickly becoming the most fentanyl contaminated drug. Gee, Brenda, maybe you should qualify that a little bit. You have what is that? What is that based on? It could be totally accurate. It's just the first I've heard of it. It's totally believable. I find it completely believable. I believe, Kimberly, I believe laced coke is laced cocaine. So, so many things are laced now. It's scary. For sure it is. Terry is in Arizona. You know, we recorded stories in Arizona. I want to say 6 or 8 months ago, and we're probably going to be coming back soon next year in 2026. So John says, I would like everyone to pray for the guy that was with my sister when she died. He recently got out of prison and is still in active addiction. So everyone should do that. John's right. Kimberly says, what part of Arizona? We were in Phoenix. We will probably be going back to Tucson or Prescott. We're still working on it. Brenda says, hey Brad, so good to see you here. We're having a tough time until you showed up. We were having a tough time, Brenda. Were we? Were we? I'm Because Brad wasn't here? What are you saying? you know, he just hadn't woken up from his nap yet. And so now he's here, but I think we were doing okay without him. I'm very glad you're here, Brad. But yeah, I don't know if we were having a hard time. I don't know what that says about me. Anyway, so Rika baby, you're saying no. I don't know what you're saying no about. Terry, I'm recovering 11 years clean on cannabis. Okay. That's uh, Kimberly. And Rika says, I would like to share my story. You should go to our website. You should go to our website and figure out. And I'm so figure out. What am I saying? You should go to our website. There it is on the screen. You should go to our website, look on the homepage, and you'll see a link that says uh, information about sharing your story. And there'll be another link that says how to organize a storytelling summit. What's expected, what's necessary, and certainly email us. Send me an email at info@texas-pictures.com. Uh, send me an email, and we can sort something out to make it happen to get us in whatever area you're at. We also have a private Facebook group that's called Texas Pictures Storytellers. So I don't know if you can search for it and find it or not. But I can invite you if you friend me on Facebook, but you can try searching for it. Kind of seems like something happened. They gave me the idea that would work. So Texas Picture Storytellers, and that group is made up of people who have shared their story with us and people who wish to share their story with us. And maybe a few trolls. It happens. No big deal. Rika Baby is in Georgia. We have some interest. We've had some inquiries about us coming to Georgia already. So really, you should join our private group, and we can see if there's other people in Georgia. But we can certainly make it happen. We've gone through Georgia quite a few times. Midwest Mama says, I have a friend here where I'm from, and her boyfriend OD'd and broke her heart so bad. She OD'd 2 days later. I honestly think she just wanted to be back with him. That's terrible. Brenda says, Terry, please consider joining. So many of us now in recovery. You won't have a hard time physically leaving Coke behind. Now the mental battle will be much more difficult. I promise you can do it. We have a whole series of recovery stories. There's over 50 of them, and they're powerful. They can be inspirational. They can be motivating. Brenda can tell you about them. Brenda's awesome. Rika baby, you can come to Houston, and we'll do your story anytime we're in town. We will record your interview, and we'll be glad to do it. But we do have something brewing that'll eventually happen in Georgia. When I say eventually, that's about as specific as I can be. But I showed you guys the map already, right? So, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Yeehaw. I don't know where that is. But wherever. Just we can make it happen. I'm getting close to caught up, which is good. Brenda says, Terry, please consider join. Oh, I did that one. Rika Baby, I'm in Lawrence, Midwest Mama. Are we allowed to give names and you research family or obituary and you reach out to family? Or how does it work finding these families and loved ones? Yeah, we don't we don't we don't do that. We are as busy as we can be with recording interviews and editing them into logical flowing stories. When we have when we have a story that has multiple interviews that is like a mother, father, cousin, friend, all part of one story, the storytellers are the ones who organize that, who bring the people in that we interview, and we put together the story from that. We've never, so far, we have never turned anyone away. So it's not really about being allied. There's no allowed to. There's no application process. There is no approval process. It's your story. It's your loved one's story. There is a lot of information on our website. Or just go to texas-pictures.com and look for the link on the homepage. There'll be a link that says about storytelling summits, and there'll be another link about what it's like to share a story. It's all there. So I don't really understand here on YouTube and the information that I have in front of me. It says our chat rate is 1, and earlier our chat rate was 5. I don't know. It seems pretty. I don't understand. Terry says I do need help. All right, Terry. There's help out there. I can't stress that enough, Terry. Really, there is help out there. You can email me. You can email me at info@texas-pictures.com. Info, INFO, at texas-pictures.com. Or you can visit our website, and there's links to send us emails on the website. Or you can find me on Facebook and you can message me there. However works for you. We will help you find help. We'll do what we can. It's really, I do need help, you said. I do need help. That, just saying that or typing that or whatever, communicating that message out loud, publicly, that's giant. That's a big deal. Because the hardest step for a lot of people who are in recovery is getting to that point where they can acknowledge that they have a problem, that they need help, and you're there. That's a big deal. That is a huge deal, Terry. So, really, seriously, feel free to reach out to me, and I will help you find someone who can help you. I'm no expert on addiction. I'm no expert on fentanyl. I, I'm I'm maybe I'm kind of an expert on video production, but probably not even that. But I can help you. I can find someone who can help you. I can point you in the right direction. I can talk to you. I can help you. It's such a powerful thing. I do need help. You said that right there in the chat. That is such a brave thing. That is such a beautiful thing for someone to be able to say, I need help to other people. That's giant. There is help around you wherever you are. Anyway, sorry. So I kind of went off. Viola says, Rika, baby, I'm in Georgia as well, just outside of Atlanta in Stone Mountain. You got a story you're willing to share? Stone Mountain, Georgia. I know about that place. Yeah. So, anyway, there's references to Stone Mountain, Georgia in the Civil War documentary series created by Ken Burns. Brilliant series. Brenda says, Midwest, these are back-to-back overdoses happen more than you would realize. When you are in active addiction, you have so few friends. When you lose one, it feels impossible to go on without them. John says, Terry, do you have Celebrate Recovery or NA in your area? Where are you located? Terry says we do. So, NA, Celebrate Recovery, there's another one. Going to the meetings, going to meetings can help. You don't like, I know John did not find a reason to go to the meetings, but going to the meetings helps a whole bunch of people. Being among people that are facing the same difficulties, the same challenges, and being able to talk to them and share what you're going through, there's strength in that. There's support in that. So that's a great thing. And there's probably a meeting going on somewhere near you or relatively near you right now. And there'll be another one tomorrow, probably somewhere else near you, and the next day, and the day after that. And even if that turns out not to be the best solution for you, it's a growing experience. It's a growing opportunity. So it's a big deal. Really a big deal. So now, a minute ago, our chat rate was at 3, and now it's at 0. Did I do something wrong? I don't know. Holy cow, look at the time. So let me catch up. Midwesties back to back. Yeah. We did that. We do. Terry is in Phoenix. Okay. John is not in Arizona. John is in Mississippi. Terry, I know people in Phoenix. I really do. We have had a storytelling summit in Phoenix. Let's see. Thank you, everybody. This page will continue to grow for eternity. Uh, uh, okay. Terry, Phoenix is large enough. You'll be able to find a multitude of meetings. Keep trying new ones until you find people that you mesh with. I withdraw my recommendation of AA since you live large city. Okay. Here's what I've noticed about large cities, because I live in Houston, is that large cities aren't necessarily large cities. They're a group of small cities all mashed together. Even though I live in Houston, I live sort of near the outskirts of Houston. And what is immediately around me, around the 5 or 6 mile radius of me, is where virtually everything happens. For me, the church I attend is 3 miles away. The mall that we shop at is 4 miles away. Most of the restaurants that we go to are less than 5 miles away, and there's lots of them. So even though I live in a big city, I don't really live in the whole city. I just live in this one little 5 mile radius, 6 mile radius kind of area. Terry, we are a beautiful support group here, says Kimberly. I kind of like to think so. I like to see the magic that happens here. So, oh my gosh. We are a loving family, says Viola. And Terry says, I've been bedridden for 2 weeks. Well, how are things going with that? Are you getting better? Lila said, Lila, that's my mom. Says, Brad, the weather's pretty good too for those who don't like it hot. Yeah, Brad. Well, compared to Oklahoma, it's more comfortable here. Just come on down. You'll see. We have a room for you. I can almost see it from here. Just come on down, Brad. Terry, yes, some of those broken ribs are going to keep you down for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Since you are bedridden, look up online meetings. Yeah, online meetings, and there's a great opportunity to watch everything on the Texas Pictures channel as well. That could get boring, but online meetings is certainly a thing. And you can communicate with us. We can you said I need help. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. That gives me joy, because you're on the right track. Your head is in the right place. Terry, yes, those broken ribs. Da 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 da. I already did that. Glenn, my stomach just turned. Okay. You doing all right, Kimberly? Terry, please watch other Texas documentary series on fentanyl. There is hundreds of videos on our channel. Midwest Mama, some would rather the loved one pass in a home rather than alone on the street somewhere. Midwest Mama says Perkins Xanax bars is The most I've heard of being laced. Well, we've heard of more. We've heard about heroin being laced. We've heard about cocaine being laced. We've heard about marijuana being laced. That we hear about all those things. And when I say we hear about them, we hear about them from law enforcement. We hear about it. We hear about it from people who are in positions where they would know. It's an increasingly prevalent thing. John and Terry, Kimberly says, John and Terry, I am glad that you are here with us. That's awesome. Glenn, based on the number of deaths with fentanyl and other street drugs showing up, medical examiners' offices across the United States. Okay. Lacing stuff scared me straight from smoking pot. Thank you, Lord. Terry and John, I'm keeping you in your prayers. Thank you for the love, Terry says. Brenda says Coke is the powder from laced most. Pills laced most are tied between Percocet and Xanax. Oh, it happened again. I lost my spot. Lost my spot. Oh, gosh. Kimberly says, Glenn and Brenna, I'm going to educate Catholic Charities on fentanyl. Good job. Midwest Mama says, now's the time for recovery. The world is getting so bad and scary. There's a lot of hope in the world too. You have to stay aware of that. For us, I have to make a conscious effort to remind me that not everyone out there is having an issue with losing a family member or with addiction. Because I see a lot of that. But that's because of this work that we're doing here. So I have to remind myself that the whole country's not the whole country is at risk. But we probably most, if not all of us in the room right now, see more of that than most people. There is one in the 1980s when I was in college, I worked at a camera store. And the camera store, we took in cameras for repair. And because we took in cameras from repair, sometimes we would have customers who would ask, well, which brand or which model or whatever, which camera is made the best? Which one's the least likely to need repairs? And what I'd always point out to the customer way back then was I can't really say because all the cameras that we see come back in are broken. So anyway, y'all get the point, right? Surely you get the point. Okay. Brenda, I've spoken to George and he is glad to have partnership with him. Gwinnett County is very aggressive with busting up the fentanyl. That sounds cool, Rika. Lawrenceville, we are almost neighbors, Viola says. I'm trying to catch up here. You guys need to, we got that high chat rate again. Brenda says, Terry, Kimberly just reminded me of something that helped when I was first getting clean. A friend had given me a rosary, and I would wrap it around my hands and fingers just to keep my hands busy. Just to keep my hands busy. What do they say about idle hands? Idle hands being the devil's workshop, right? That's an expression. So Brenda says, Terry, Kimberly just reminded me. Oh, I just read that. Uh, I, I'm on it. Okay. Tina F. Newton. On my end, it shows 36 people on the chat right now. Right. Okay, but I'm behind. Okay, so I never heard of meth and psychosis. I guess. Terry says, thank you. Uh, glad you're with us, Terry. Very, very glad you're with us. Very glad about where you're at, too. Brenda says, Viola, if the bulldog comes up missing, don't send the law to my house, please. And Brenda says, Kimberly, meth causes more psychosis than all other drugs combined. That stuff is made with some toxic stuff like battery acid, rat poisoning, etc. And Viola is laughing, I'm assuming, about the bulldog comment. I'm sorry, I'm so behind, people. Midwest Mama, I've heard online meetings too, but never found any helpful with alcohol. Well, keep trying. What I keep hearing about meetings is that there's all kinds of meetings out there, and that you have to find the meeting that fits you. You have to find the meeting that is that's is just a good match. It's like finding a church or finding a friend group. You know, there's going to be some groups that you just don't connect with the way that you'd like to, and so you just find another group. It's got to work the same with online, even with online meetings, and the actual search will help you too, I believe. Midwest Mama says, I've heard online meeting. Yeah. How do we rate it? Kimberly says, Mama, let's rate it. Thumbs up. Yes, there's a way to hit the thumbs up button. I believe some people said you had to exit out of the chat, hit the thumbs up, and then go back. Don't leave us to give us a thumbs up. Just do it at the end. Don't leave us. Brenda says, fun fact, for the city of Las Vegas, it's over 1,800 NA and AA meetings a week. I don't know the numbers for Phoenix, but I bet it's similar. This is only in-person meetings. There's even more online. Funny you would bring up Las Vegas. We actually had an inquiry from someone in Las Vegas who wants us to come there and have a storytelling summit, which could be a very cool event. Could bring people in from all over, because airfare to Las Vegas has typically always has discounts going on. Anyway, broken ribs take time. Viola says, right, I'm in metro Atlanta. I only go into Atlanta when absolutely necessary. Atlanta has become an absolute nightmare. You know, we hear that about so many. We hear that about so many cities now. Portland, San Francisco. Atlanta. And these are cities that used to be so awesome. Austin. Viola says, I got to go. Night peeps. The old gotta get up really early for doctor appointment in the morning. Love you all. John, dear John, you have inspired me to meet Christ. It's an awesome story, John. John has already left, I believe. So, anyone, if I've missed some stuff, please message me. Put the message up again because I feel like I can't get caught up with all these messages right now, and I really want to. So, holy cow. 2 dead skunks. Midwest Mama, I notice on the episode it says so many numbers will pass during the episode. Isn't it like every 11 minutes? Here's how we sort out that number. We take the total length of the program and we multiply it by 0.13. And that gives us the number based on the number of illicit fentanyl deaths in the last 4 years, based on that average. We will need to update it soon, and that number will probably go down a little bit. There has been some improvement in overdose rates. It's not much, and it is not something that merits attention as a bragging point for any political party or any administration. The fentanyl death rate climbed dramatically and continuously for the last 12 years. 4 administrations, both parties, they all had a bite at this apple. Now things are happening. But is that because of the administration? The death rate started to decline during the previous administration. But does that have something to do with the administration, or does it have something to do with all of the nonprofit organizations that are out there trying to increase awareness? But there is at least no obvious connection between the death rate and whatever status the border is in, whether it's open or closed. Most of the people who smuggle, 87% of the people that are convicted of smuggling fentanyl across the southern border are American citizens. %. Less than 2% of all of the illegal immigrants that are caught by U.S. Border Patrol are found to be carrying any fentanyl at all. Those are just facts. They're just facts. So, holy cow, let me get up. Midwest Mom, I noticed on the episode. Yeah, we did that one. Okay. Brenda says, Terry, in the future, someone tells you a drug has legs, don't buy it or take it because it will be laced with fentanyl. Sorry, I just remembered this from my days of fentanyl addiction. Well, that's useful information for sure. Brenda says, Midwest, I would be surprised if you had heard it. The active fentanyl addiction world is very private. Thank goodness word is getting out so more of us can find recovery instead of die. What about raid for cannabis? I don't know. Brenda says, Kimberly, I do this fight to save the babies. If a few users get saved, that's fine, but my focus is the children. God bless the 11-year-old boy from Cali killed by his father this week. That's terrible. Jenna Rue says, I thought legs meant it lasted longer. That sounds reasonable. Brenda says, Jenna, lasted longer is used when it is combined with meth. Okay, now we don't want to start getting into tips for how to make your experience last longer. Anyway, we have been here for over 97 minutes. And so it's probably about time to wrap things up. We will not be live for the rest of the week. We have a premiere scheduled for Tuesday, and we will have another one for Thursday. But we'll be out of town, we'll be on the road, and so we won't likely be doing any live events for the next few days. But I am so grateful for all of you joining us for this and all of the participation and all of the wonderful input and comments and sharing. So thank you all for joining us, for sure. And of course, Brenda always has her wonderful point of guidance to share. And I actually earlier today I thought of something that was right up there with what Brenda usually shares. And I thought I don't remember it now though, but I will. I'll remember it at some point. Next time I think of it, I'll write it down and I will have it to share with you guys sometime soon. So remember, as Brenda says, what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. Thank you all for keeping clean today and the last 458 days. Brina Boo, thank you all for being here. And, I always like to remind you guys how important it is to reach out to people, to be connected, to share. And I like to remind you that you're always welcome to reach out to us. And so you can reach out to us by email at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find us on Facebook by my name. You can send me a friend request to my name, Glenn Muse. And through that friend request, you can then send me a message and remind me that you'd like to be invited to our private Facebook group. You can also find us on TikTok, and you can visit our website at texas-pictures.com. You can learn more about how to share your story. You'll find a link to our merchandise store, and you can find out more about us. There's a mailing address and phone number, all that kind of cool stuff. So I want to thank you guys very much for being a part of this event and for being a part of the premiere. And we look forward to seeing you guys again very soon. Good night, folks.